Welcome YouTube, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about Clan Collection Volume 5 and 6 and its meta impact in V Premium. I think I've held this video off for a little while now, but I think it's a good time to release it. Obviously, global or English finally got the sets in, and I actually finally got the time to play some of this stuff in V Premium. I know JP has had it for a little while now, but I think it's a good time to do it, because now I can actually give my thoughts on some of this stuff and then just kind of give you guys some insight on how relevant the support that we got from these two sets will impact Premium. V Premium. All right, so I'm gonna do this a little bit differently. As you can see on the screen, there are 24 clans. I do know that there are sub-bosses as well. For example, Narukami got Vowing Saber Reverse, but also got Sweep Command. So I'm gonna be grading it based on the clan's support over the two sets. All right, and its meta relevance in V Premium. Give my thoughts on the deck and pretty much go from there. Okay, if you guys need any coaching for BCS, hit me up on my Metafy link bottom right hand corner, metafy.gg/@Derek-Dow. My slots are being filled up very quickly, and then once BCS dates drop, I'll be putting in my calendar, so I'll be blocking those out to attend BCSs. So get your dates in for a session if you guys are, looking forward for a session. Okay, so diving into the Clan Collection stuff. This is probably one of the most impactful sets ever released, actually, in my opinion. I think this set was much better than V Clan Collection 1 to 4. I feel that the last two Clan Collections were quite mediocre, or I guess subpar, but maybe that's because of like the quality of stuff that is already out and present in the metagame, and then they kind of put the ban list in, kind of dropped the power level down, and then that's probably why this ended up becoming good, right? So talking about Neonectar was so long gone, the deck never saw any relevance. But I think there was a deck that topped Vanguard in Indonesia, who came undefeated in Swiss, and I played this deck. The deck is actually pretty aggro. I think this deck is pretty spicy, but I don't think it does very much to the metagame itself. I think it's a pretty average plus over average deck, but nothing like, top tier Go-Get level type, deck. But I think the deck itself is now playable in a way that it can kind of match to the other maybe tier 2.5 decks. But it's not completely bad. So I think this Neonectar build is much better than what we already have at the moment for Neonectar. So I'm just going to put it in B. I think it might be somewhere here, but I think B is a pretty good standpoint as to where to grade this type of support. Leopold Reverse, I'm putting it in A. This support this time around with Tester Fox and Leopold Reverse is actually quite threatening. The fact that you can create multiple excels just by milling off Leopold Reverse and having a Leopold on rearguard, I think it is, makes this deck actually quite scary. Very similar to Holy Shine into Percival's, or multiple Axel generating decks. The fact that this deck can combo with like all the other current Great Nature support already, I think the deck actually has a lot going for it. I'm not too sure. I think it goes in A. I would not put it in S. I think A is a really good point for it to stand, and I think the deck has a lot of potential. 7 Seas. I haven't actually tested this deck, and neither has my friend Tan. He hasn't tested this deck either. He's a 7 Seas, lover, guru, whatever you call it. I'm not actually too sure where to put this. I think if you range it with Night Rose, I think Night Rose is just better for the meta. So I think I'm just going to put it in C. It's a nice to have, but it's not dirt trash. 7 Seas actually finally got some love. So yeah, that's that. Steam Maidens. I think Steam Maidens goes straight into S. The impact of this Steam Maiden support is actually ridiculous. Having a 25k shield in a grade 4 as well as a pseudo G Guardian from the drop zone is pretty insane. It converts all your heals, like all your 15k, you know, heal guardians. It ends up becoming 25k. And then also, you know, you have your grade 2 and your grade 1 gear cat. The grade 2 essentially calls a gear cat, which is +1. And then after it gets boosted by it, you can like search top 2 and add 1 to hand, which is pretty insane. So there's a lot of advantage engine in the grade 2 and the grade 1 that we got from this set. So I think Steam Maidens will see a lot of impact in the V Premium scene. And I actually do think we will see a lot of this come the BCS season. So I definitely will put Steam Maidens in S. Now, Amon Reverse, as much as I love the art for this, I think the support for it is kind of average. Though the grade 1 is really good. The grade 1 allows you to essentially have a Barmaid Grace, or essentially Amon's skill on a rearguard with Amon's name. So I think that's pretty good. Other than that, I think Dark Regulars is already pretty good with Shaharot and Hope on Damp. So I think the impact of this particular Dark Regular support isn't as, you know, impactful to Dark Regulars as a whole because the deck is already good. So I think just the support is in C, similar to 7Cs. Nice to have, but, you know, just have it for the art, right? Just have it for the art. All right, so Glendios. I'm not too sure where I put this. I think Glendios support is like pretty cool, like, but it's Glendios oriented support, and I'm not too sure how impactful it is. I think it's a pretty over average deck, but nothing like, you know, A tier. I think if you're testing, you still have to test for this. Otherwise, like, you know, the likes of Messiah is probably still better with Volko. So I think the support for Glendios is just okay. The deck for Glendios is pretty okay. So I think putting it in B is completely fine. Ethics Buster, unfortunately, it goes in D. It really doesn't help Novigraps much, but I guess you have Asura, maybe it puts up, but even Asura is like, I don't know, quite average to me. I played the deck, it's a very high roll deck, not very consistent. There's a lot that needs to be done for Nova Grappler. And I mean, Victor is probably better with Sazanda. So yeah, the support for Nova Graps, unfortunately, it goes in D. Sorry for you Nova Grappler players. I hope you get better support in the future. Maybe some more Blau Kluger support. That'd be cool. All right, Tai Chi's. Tai Chi's, I don't know. I don't really want to put it in A, but I think I'll put it in high B, low A. I think the support for Tai Chi is quite good. But this is for V, hey? So the support for Ancient Dragons is pretty good. But I think Ancient Dragons itself is just, I don't know, quite lackluster. But it's definitely better than Neos, but it's not as good as Leopold. So I think putting it here is fine. Maybe it's just like a subpar deck for Ancient Dragons, but then again, if you put into comparison with, you know, Gaia Spino Driver and all that stuff, but I guess then Spino Driver has, you know, support for it, but then you have to rely on like fronts instead. So I think it's good, over average support, just enough, but I don't think it will be as impactful. I feel that like once people actually play this deck, and actually top with it, I'll probably, yeah, those words will probably come back to bite me. But yeah, I think the support itself is just good, but not too impactful so that it shapes the meta. This, I actually don't know what this is. Nubatama? Because the other one's Murakumo, right? This one's Murakumo. So this is Nubatama. I think Nubatama support, what did it even get? Let me search this up. What did it even get? Was it like Hyaki support? Oh no, it was Stealth Dragon support, right? Yeah, the Stealth Dragons. Oh yeah, that's right. The token support. I'm not too sure where this goes. I think it goes in C because I think Hanzo with Mizukaze is like much better. But yeah, I do like the art of it. The art of it's pretty cool, but I think the support won't impact V Premium as much. And I think V Premium is in a stage where there are so many decks that are quick, and I don't actually think Nubatame is a quick deck, unfortunately. So I think it just kind of goes in C, not very impactful, doesn't really help Hanzo in a way. Maybe the grade 2 and grade 1 might, but I think the grade 3 itself doesn't really help Hanzo. And Hanzo itself, if you combo it with like Mizukaze and multi-attack, I think it's pretty strong. So I think I'll put it there. Alright, Spectral Dupe, S tier, 100%. So not only Spectral Dupe, you also have a Holy Shine, which is actually insane. Holy Shine with Percival creates you 3 XLs on a ride for CB2, which is absolutely mind-blowing. I'm not too sure why they even thought of that. Yeah, Percival's a card. I'm surprised they completely omitted that. And Spectral Dupe itself, the fact that you have a Limit Break 5 re-ride, like, is pretty crazy. So I do think S tier support for golds. If you're a gold paladin player, you definitely won. Yeah, the deck is just so good. Yeah, gives Spectral what it wants, gives Liberators what it wants, and you could probably place like Holy Shine with Gurgit, which makes Gurgit much better because Gurgit was pretty slow transitioning from turn 3 to turn 4. So now that you have Holy Shine, you kind of cover that up. Next, Drag Ruler. So I'm gonna put Drag Ruler in A, not because of Drag Ruler, but because of Udonna. Udonna giving Luard the buff that it needs is actually really good. The Revenger support though is just kind of average. Mordred got its thing, but Raging Form is like pretty good. We saw a lot of Raging Forms in Springfest. I don't think it impacts Revengers at all. Just gives Mordred, well actually it gives Shadow Paladin another deck to play in Mordred. But I think Udonna is the card that really shines in that, giving Luard the support that it needs. Cool. And then Curiel. Actually, it probably goes in D. It doesn't help anything. Like maybe like the grade 2, grade 1 might help Malkuth Melek. But Angel Feather just really stayed where it is. So I think the support for it against all the other archetypes is like pretty bad. It doesn't affect the meta at all. Has to like run Protect 2. I think the grade 2 and grade 1 support is like splashable in other things, but not like full staples or anything like that. Yep. So Giraffa. I'm not too sure about this. I think Giraffa goes in C. Giraffa itself is like when I saw this card when it released, it was just quite average to me. I don't know, I just feel that Giraffa is just whatever. Yeah, unfortunately Mega Colony players, yeah, it goes there. it goes there. All right, Genovius. If this was a premium tier list, it'd go in S. But I think I'm not too sure how Ripples itself will play. You might see splashes of stuff. Oh wait, actually no, sorry. It actually goes in A because you get a reprint of Pursuit Assault. So all you people who don't have Pursuit Assault, you buy the Aquaforce playset and you're 100% in the metagame again, alright? Because Tharvas is still good. So you get your Pursuit Assaults. So I think just that alone will put it in A. Ripples itself in V, I'm not too sure like whether the deck is actually good because it doesn't have Odysseus, right? It doesn't have Odysseus. So you can't create like 50,000 Excel circles and decide to like restand everything. But I think the restand board is pretty strong if you like generate multiple Excels. But the fact that you get Pursuit Assault, Narissa, and Dennis as a reprint is actually bonkers. So I think just that makes, you know, anyone who holds Tharvas, yeah, super happy to, you know, pick up this set. Especially if you sold your Pursuit Assaults for like, you know, 200 US for a playset. Thank God for you, because, you know, you made 200 bucks and now you have to pay 5 or 10 bucks for your Pursuit Assault playsets, you know? So yeah, I think just putting it there because the rise in Tharvas will probably increase now because of Pursuit Assaults. All right, Rate. Rate is just in B. I think Ange Highlander doesn't really get impacted by this as much. You probably will see a splash of Rate itself in Highlander because then you can, you know, ride it and then restand with it. So I think that's a pretty cool gimmick. But otherwise, like Ange Highlander is just there. All right, Sarah goes immediately in D. I don't know why Bushiroad released this card. I was very sad when I saw this card. I was in a phone call or like voice call, and this dropped on me, and I'm like, are you serious? Like, if I wanted to play this deck, I would go in standard and I'd play Bastion, right? Why would I play Bastion in V when my restanding rearguards don't gain power? Like, why? This card doesn't even have foiling. Like, if you guys saw tweets, right? When you compare this with a triple I, it doesn't even have foiling, all right? Sure, okay, the card is worthless, so I got my SPs for like super cheap, but the deck itself sucks, all right? I'm sorry, but Sarah, you are the bottom of D tier. Man, if there was a Sarah tier, I'd put it there, all right? I am so sorry. I am actually pretty disappointed as someone who plays Pale Moon and actually sees this card. Man, I'll go to stand. I'll play Bastion Prime instead. Thank you very much. All right, Spike Brothers, Max. What other stuff did they get? Max. I don't think. Oh, Skydive and Reckless Express. I think I'll put it in C. I don't see the deck performing as well. Rising Nova's still good, but it doesn't really need the support from Max. I think Max is much better in Premium. But I feel that the support for Spike Brothers just makes it okay. You know, new tools, pretty good. You know, pretty happy like just having it. I think it just goes there. You know, you're pretty happy with whatever you already have. Maybe it goes like low B, probably higher than 7Cs, somewhere there maybe. But yeah, you know, as a Spike Brother player, you know, you're happy to have it, but nothing impacting in the metagame, I don't think. All right, Dayusha. So reverse Dayusha gives a gateway for DP to kind of come back now. So I'll put it in high B, but I don't think it's as impactful as any of the other decks that we mentioned, especially because the meta is really quick at the moment. A lot of decks, you know, go quick, smash quick. I think there's a build up with reverse Dayusha, and I just feel that, you know, you'd be missing out a lot because you're gated by, you know your great Dayushas, and then, you know, you have to ride Brad Black, go into something, and then go into reverse Dayusha. There's a lot going on, but I don't think the support is bad. I think those who play DP in V will happily put this in their decks. I think it's a pretty good addition to the DP, you know, toolkit for, you know, Dimensional Robos and Dayusha in general. Cool. Eradicators. I think Eradicators goes somewhere here. Eradicators in V obviously isn't as great as Eradicators in Premier. Eradicators in Premier is actually pretty bonkers. I think it's alright. You know, you have your Vowing Sabers, you have Sweep Command and Armor Break. Armor Break doesn't really do anything. Pretty memey deck. I think Vowing Saber Reverse is the big highlight here, because you can mix it with Dragonic Descendant, and then just restand your board for final turn. That's pretty cool. But otherwise, I don't think the deck itself will generate a lot of bind for you to be able to proc its skill as much, but it hand rips. So I think pretty good support. I think I'd rate it quite high, maybe like low A. I think that's the place to go. Murakumo. I'm not too sure about this. Murakumo. I'm actually not sure. Not sure where I put Murakumo, because it's like Shiryuki support, but not really. Because it's like, I don't know. I think like it's Stealth Fiend support, right? But I think Murakumo in V, you have like Yasue. Yasue is just like better, I think. So I don't think the impact on this is like very high. Like I don't see you running the grade 2 or the grade 1 very much. I guess you got like Reprints of Shiryuki, that's probably the best thing you got. But otherwise I think the deck itself is just quite eh. Yeah, so I'll just put it in C, but probably low C, maybe like here. Mega Kleiny definitely got better support than that. Murakumo players, I think you're pretty good with Yasue at the moment. Yasue is, you know, fast, quick. You know, you have one on Nudo to like draw and stuff. So I think it's pretty good for you. Rebirth. I think Rebirth's support is very good. I think Rebirth finally gives an out for DOTX to finally play back in the metagame. Whether or not DOTX becomes, one of the best decks, I don't think so. But I think Rebirth splashing in with the X will then give players a little bit more of a finishing turn than just going to the end and then restanding 3 times. I think Rebirth itself is pretty good. So I think I'll just leave it there, because I think there was a deck, it was like Dauntless Rebirth or something like that, that topped VMC, not VMC. Yeah, was it VMC? VMC for Malaysia. So that was a pretty cool inclusion. So, people can probably, play around with that. So, yeah. Otherwise, the remaining support like Goku and whatever else it got, I think it's pretty alright. I mean, you'd be happy to have it. Regalia. I think Regalia goes in C. Actually, probably in D, hey? Because it doesn't really help Genesis at all. All the other Regalia support is already good. Sure, maybe you run like the grade 2. I'll give it brownie points. You put there, like with brownie points, just because you got like a really good grade 2, you probably won't see the grade 1 being used very much, the Ordained Owl. And I think the grade 3, why would you run it if you have, Angelica and Yggdrasil? So Yggdrasil already takes slots because you have to run restands. And Yggdrasil itself, combo with Himiko, is like much better. So I don't think there's actually much impact at all with Genesis. Battle Sisters. I think Battle Sisters got pretty solid support. Whether or not it's meta impacting, I'm not too sure. It's still a 3 attack deck, can manipulate crits early. But I think putting it in high B, I think the lowest of A. The lowest of A, because like you can, again, manipulate crits, rush early. But the downfall that I think it has is that if you're playing against like multiple Excel decks, it just dies. Especially if you're giving Limit Break 4 to like Ripple, then it just restands the whole board. You give like, Limit Break 5 to Spectral Dupe, it just gets annihilated. So I think putting it there is fine. Ashley itself, just B. I think, Ashley Reverse, good to have. Very nice support. I wouldn't go any further with, adding multiple stuff from the new stuff into Jewel Knights. I think Jewel Knights already is good. Having Miranda is really good. So I think splashing in 1 or 2 of that. Maybe you put like 1 or 2 reverses in there. I think the deck itself is already good. And it just got buffed even further, which I think is pretty good. But other than that, I think Jewel Knights is in a pretty good spot at the moment. So I think its relevance to V Premium, it'll probably keep the deck where it is, or maybe just slightly higher, but otherwise everything else is there. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. So the V Clan Collection Volume 5 and 6, make sure you guys go get your stuff now. I've got my stuff. I'm ready, to test for BCS season. V Premium actually got really, really interesting with the set. So I highly recommend you guys go to your local game store and pick it up. And yeah, that's pretty much it for me. If you guys like this video, hit a like. Comment down below what you guys think about the 2 sets. What you think will top. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.